just right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through. Times don't fly too high. Be sure to keep the ground in sight. Fly forever if you keep it tight. Love the world, but keep the sky on your mind.
Guys, we ready to go, Dan?
All set.
All right, let's get going. All right, good afternoon, or actually good evening, everybody, I should say. It's been a crazy couple of weeks for me. I know everybody's got a lot going on right now. We just came out of Thanksgiving, so hopefully y'all got a lot of good food, got to spend time with your families. Definitely an important thing. So I do have a few articles for us to cover tonight, but with us tonight we have Dan, Alex from the computer lab at school. We got Rob, who's off camera right now. He is driving, so hopefully he's doing so safely. And then we've got Dave over here, old guy Dave, and then myself. So
Unretired
hey, it's
Dave.
Unretired Dave. Yeah, definitely unretired Dave. So, Dave, why don't you tell us a little bit of what's going on, man?
Absolutely. 2 weeks ago, I was appointed as the interim CEO of Flight Test, and so that includes FTCA. So we are. I was brought in because of my business background, 4 decades of working in corporate, in sales, marketing, development, services, mergers and acquisitions, etc. So got good background, and we've had the privilege of working with Josh Bixler, president of Flight Test, for the last couple of years, and the FTEZ ID, the remote ID module that we brought out through Flight Test, was something that I spent a lot of time on. They got to know me, and so I've been brought on to effectively team with Josh Bixler, where he's continues to do the work he does as a visionary and designer, and I will take on more of the day-to-day operations as the interim CEO, and doing what I know how to do, and getting things done. So it's busy. It will be a part-time assignment, so I will be able to dedicate time to FPVFC, and it's a great combination of our skills, or my skills, plus the plus Flight Test. So it's keeping me out of mischief. So it's been a little busy as a startup effort.
Excellent. So definitely hope to see continuing greatness out of Flight Test, and amazing team to work with, I'm sure. And then I've got a couple articles we'll cover real quick. We've got some new FAA approvals. We've got some Zipline news, and a little bit of some enforcement action from, I I don't know specifically the FAA, but definitely in California, some stuff going on there. So I just wanted to cover that stuff. And let me see if I can get my tab going here. Here we go. All right. So FAA has greenlit Percepto to manage a 30 drone remote fleet control. So this gives them the ability to operate 30 drones with a single operator. And this is 30 drones simultaneously. Um, so surging automated drone technology company Percepto has added another Federal Aviation Administration achievement to its growing list. In this case, allowing the company to remotely operate up to 30 of its UAVs using only one pilot. Percepto, known for its cutting-edge autonomous inspection and monitoring solutions, has secured a significant milestone with the FAA granting a nationwide waiver. This paved the way for a single operator to oversee a full fleet of up to 30 Percepto autonomous drones simultaneously. For heavy industry sectors such as oil and gas, utilities, and energy, this FAA approval brings a revolutionary shift. So Percepto does a lot of sorry, the ads are insane on this website.
Get yourself an ad blocker.
You know, I probably should at some point. So they do a lot of inspection, infrastructure inspection. I know I believe they've been heavy in Mexico from some other articles that I've read, doing inspection on energy, the energy sector down there. But yeah, this is a pretty big deal, allowing autonomous drones, one pilot to oversee 30 of them. Definitely showcasing the enhanced capabilities of autonomous UAVs. So they say it lowers the cost for new entrants seeking to utilize drones to enhance their operations. For the first time, encourages more market players to establish new drone program, which is now more cost effective than ever. So definitely a good deal there.
Only controlling 30 drones at once? That's nothing for like a light show.
I know, right? Those incorporate hundreds, but the cool part about this is it's nationwide waivers. So it's not in a specific zone, locked to a specific.
Sure. It's still 29
area,
more than I've flown at a single time.
True story. But I've seen somebody fly 2 at once. That was interesting.
May I add in on this?
Absolutely.
There's an every Tuesday event called Desi's Coffee Connections, and it's by Desi, the drone diva. And Desi is a wonderful woman out on the West Coast. And if anyone is interested, it's at 9 a.m. Pacific or noon Eastern every Tuesday. Email me, and I can get you an introduction, and you can join. She'll put you on a email. And you can join if you'd like or if you can. So one of the interviews, and so people speak every week, and it's useful. And Josh Bixler and I have spoken on Coffee Connections, and so this week it was, I'm probably going to say it wrong, UVIFY, how it's spelled. And Robert Cheek was the individual presenting, and he claims that they've got over 90% market share of swarm drones, and in the United States. And so they have a program where they recommend that you start with 20 drones and then get up to 400 as quickly as possible. And a lot of really clever business sense about what it is that they're doing. They were the provider behind the 2 Orlando shows last week, and as I said, their equipment, they claim they have 90% share. The reason I bring it up, and the fellow Robert Cheek, now he would say this, however, it sounds interesting. He said, I think in commercial UAS, swarm is going to be absolutely the dominant mode. using a single drone to execute an operation is going to be passé.
I would agree with that. I
Interesting
honestly
premise.
would. Yeah, I would agree with that. And I mean, if you think about it from a multitude of different scenarios, right? So if you're doing agriculture, it's much faster to cover ground with a swarm of drones than it is a single drone, right? Or if you're doing infrastructure inspection. So let's take something huge like Golden Gate Bridge, right? Faster to do it with one
Exactly.
and look at the footage, or faster to do it with 50, collect all the footage and have a bunch of analysts look at everything that was recorded.
I'm sure
Right.
someday in the
So
future you could even do real estate listing photos with 3 or 4 drones. Just send them up. They already like know a 3D scan of the space, know where they want to take pictures, go out, do it, fly back.
He was
All
even
automated.
talking. He was even talking about wedding engagements with 20 or 30 drones, and I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. You know,
They'll
a lot
probably
of
need to get
noise, but a
quieter
lot of
first.
sense. Yeah.
Or they have to
Oh,
fly
they-
far
oh,
away
they
with
like-
long lenses on
they
them.
like the noise. Redundancy, yeah, actually, absolutely. Telephotos and new Mavics.
A lot of batteries.
A lot of batteries. Good battery business. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So-
mean, if you think of it like from a perspective of like a nano swarm, doing something or scanning technology or anything like that. I mean, more is better, is faster, that kind of thing. So
So I'm trying to figure out how do we, as recreational, get our hands on some of the software technology that is swarming. And
It's
Alex,
in
I know,
Arduino already. It's open sourced.
yeah. So they were using PX4 as a base, but I was going to mention that ArduPilot is into this. So to me, this is something. Even if we're doing it on a tiny scale, if it's and if it's 5 or 6, but this is something that I would encourage anyone to get involved in. And of course, Robert Cheek did say, obviously we need to get it's a multi UAV waiver for your Part 107 because we're limited as Part 107 pilots to fly one UAV and one pilot. So that's the first one, and then of course VV loss. They're getting
Recreational isn't limited to one pilot or one quad per pilot, one aircraft per pilot.
Just put on a light show for the fun of it.
There you go. It was solely for my own enjoyment. That someone else saw it, that's their
not
problem.
my problem.
Right. So
And some other
that-
friend
that
of mine
whole-
sold tickets to it. Oh,
hey,
I didn't
had
financially
no-
benefit.
I had no knowledge of that, Judge. So,
Oh.
but anyway, interesting premise on that this is going to be where commercial goes. So I don't think it's where recreational will go or won't go as quickly, but really interesting view of and prediction for the future. And hopefully I didn't hoodwink that article too much.
No, not at all. Not by any stretch. I think it's good information, and it's definitely something to think about. And I mean, at first, when you think about drone swarms, it's like, gosh, there's, I would imagine the public perception of something like that would not be taken very well. But at the same time, when it comes to a man-hour perspective, it definitely starts to make sense. And as somebody who manages many people, you start to look at things from a man-hour perspective as opposed to a per employee kind of perspective. So
Exactly. I was
You know,
asking Robert, where's the break even point on number of hours because you've got a larger crew versus the capital investment of the equipment, and so he was like, "You and I should talk." So,
yeah, I mean, it's definitely, how many man hours does it take? If you have 10 people working on one project, for 8 hours, then you just spent 80 hours on a project. And it starts to
so the
balloon
resource
out.
cost goes up and the capital is up, but just like you said earlier, so you got a bridge to inspect. Oh, well, we need an hour as opposed
Right.
to a day. Yeah,
Right.
that's
Yeah,
great.
100%. So, All right, so Zipline. This is coming from Drone DJ. Zipline makes its first U.S. BV-LOS drone delivery flight without ground observers. So this is using their first gen. I think it's called the PT-1. I'll have to double check later here in the article, but leading global instant logistics and drone delivery specialist Zipline revealed it has set another precedent by conducting its first beyond visual line of sight flight in the U.S. without any ground observers. Zipline dropped the news in the closing hours of Friday, saying it had completed its first U.S. BV-LOS flight without ground monitors just 2 months after it had gotten FAA approval to operate those missions. That open-ended authorization is considered, I don't even know what that means, but sine non quo for drone companies of all kinds being able to scale their activities, but particularly those in the aerial delivery business. So we've talked about Zipline many times, and I'll continue with the article here. But Zipline kind of cut its teeth delivering vaccines and medical equipment in Africa. Long distance, they use this current form uses a launcher system, kind of like what you would see on an aircraft. It's a catapult or aircraft carrier, I should say. It's a catapult system, and then a hook and release or a hook and arrest system to catch the drones and get them equipped and back on the launcher fairly quickly. Let's see. However, securing.
So this is the
Go ahead.
aircraft. This is the aircraft that they're using in Uganda or Uganda,
Yes.
and so interesting that they did not use the wishbone propeller and the multi-rotor, but rather went to their fixed wing that goes out, has a radius of 75 miles, so full range of 150 miles because it's fixed wing.
Yeah, so I don't think they're calling it the P1 is this one, and I think the other one's the P2.
Okay.
But I don't think they and they touch on that here in a little bit. But let's see. So securing what up until now have been very rare FAA permits to conduct BV-LOS flights without human observers is the first hurdle. From there, recipient companies must migrate their tech from arcane approval filings into flesh and blood, or in this case, rotor and onboard tech action. That's a transfer to operational reality that Zipline CEO Keller Renato Clifton has wasted no time celebrating. Zipline conducted the milestone. Go ahead.
I looked it up. Sine non qua, an absolute condition of.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Learn something new.
Why not just say that?
Really? Gotta drop some fancy Latin quote.
Hey, Zipline conducted the milestone flight with one of its P1 delivery drones in the Salt Lake City area, where it has UAV delivery business with local healthcare and medicine providers. It said it launched the craft just an hour after getting final FAA clearance to begin BV-LOS operations without ground observers, using onboard perception systems in their stead. With that precedent under its belt, Zipline says it plans to conduct all its drone deliveries in Utah as BV-LOS flights without terrestrial monitors, and will soon expand that mode across the U.S. to other UAV networks. Let's see, I'm going to butcher her name, but Okima Moranu, Zipline's head of global aviation regulatory affairs, explained the import of the BV-LOS breakthrough. Earlier this year, Zipline became the first company in U.S. history to receive approval from the FAA to leverage an onboard perception system to enable autonomous long-distance drone delivery flights, and today we made history doing just that. This is widely considered the holy grail of approvals for scaling drone delivery options. It means that Zipline can now go from serving a few thousand homes to serving hundreds of thousands of homes within the U.S. So as it does,
interestingly, Zipline could be the poster child for how do you get delivery approval in the United States. And Akimo is one of the people responsible. So they have a very active governmental affairs organization. She runs that. Their development is superb. They've taken the business outside of the United States, gotten it approved, making money at it, and they come back into the United States. So it's a really clever business model, and they've designed the aircraft to fit the mission. They haven't stuffed an aircraft into set missions.
Yeah, I definitely encourage anybody to watch some of the Zipline videos where they cover the launching. I think Mark Rober did a really great video with them where he actually gets to load it or like basically fulfill an order, get it loaded, put it on the wings, get it on the launcher, that kind of thing. So it's definitely a really cool video. Definitely worth a watch if you haven't seen it. So it says they plan to operate its cutting edge automated P2 platform coming next year. So that's a good deal. So, all right. So a little bit of enforcement action here. So a 62-year-old Laguna Beach man was placed on 1 year of probation and ordered to do 120 hours of community service Tuesday for launching drones near 3 aircraft, risking dangerous crashes. Alexander Milonovic pleaded guilty July 13th to 3 misdemeanor counts of unsafe operation of an unmanned aircraft. U.S. District Judge also fined the defendant $7,500. On June 19th last year, he directed a drone at a father and son in an open cockpit gyrocopter on Father's Day off the coast of Crescent Bay Beach in Laguna Beach, prompting the son who was flying the aircraft to make an emergency evasive maneuver. The defendant also admitted launching a drone on July 26th of last year at the Discovery Channel Shark Week blimp. like what?
Like Greg Grivendew would say, don't be that guy.
And he also admitted to launching a drone at a U.S. Coast Guard helicopter, missing it by about 200 feet.
Never a good plan.
He's
my
doing
goodness.
terrible things, but it's interesting the wording they choose to describe what he did. You know, like launching a drone at,
Right.
causing
Like
it
he
to do
came
an
out of a
evasive emergency maneuver, which may have been, hey,
slingshot,
there's a
right?
drone over there. I'm going to go left instead of right.
Mhm.
Right. You know.
Yeah,
But
it's very,
yeah,
very
so
legalese.
but yeah, so 120 hours of community service, 1 year of probation, and a $7,500 fee. I mean, to be honest, he probably got off light on all
Doesn't
of it.
sound like the FAA got involved if that's what the charges are.
Well, it
Wow.
does say federal prosecutors, so maybe the FAA didn't get, but there's definitely some federal involvement here. So I didn't dig too deep into this, but I just thought it interesting. They generally don't publish a whole lot of enforcement stuff related to
Agreed.
drones. So
Agreed.
Hey, Josh.
yeah, go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, so on that enforcement side, I'm not familiar with that particular case, but I'm on a lot of other cases that I have been part of. So what we do is we have a federal counterpart that we refer to that's employed through the FAA called the LEAP program, Law Enforcement
Yeah.
Assistance Program. And then those guys are the ones that actually work with CFOs and the federal entities, because a lot of these violations that the FAA addresses are civil, but there's also a lot of federal violations that are actually criminal that the feds can charge people with. So that's kind of the process that goes through. The FAA will impose a civil fine, but then they will work with their federal partners to actually go after the criminal side of it as well.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, that's great information. So that answers that question. All right. Well, like Dave said, don't be that guy. That's not a good thing. So definitely fly responsibly. All right. So this is in your backyard. And actually, I was just in Plano not too long ago. But the Plano City Council is looking more closely at a growing form of delivery. Council members are examining the hubs that drone operate out of to see if regulations are necessary. The drone industry told council members last month that they are the first in Texas to consider an ordinance that would regulate drone hubs. Last month, Councilman Rick Horn summed up the major concerns brought to the city's Planning and Zoning Commission. There were concerns about noise and there were concerns about privacy, he says. The FAA regulates drone flight paths and altitude, but city regulations determine where they're based for takeoff and landing. Christina Day, the director of planning, explained that the way Plano ordinances are written, those types of hubs are not allowed. And it took me a second to understand this part. So they were approached by an operator about coming to Plano, and this is a drone delivery operator, about coming to Plano, and our zoning ordinance states that if there's an unlisted use, that it is disallowed. So if there is if something is not in an ordinance to be allowed as basically a zoning, then they automatically reject it. So there's been no ordinance in Plano apparently to provide specifically for drone delivery hubs, and so because of that, it's basically automatically not approved. So planning and zoning voted 6-2 in June to create an ordinance that would allow drone hubs, but it would also require them to be shielded by 8-foot masonry walls. That requirement did not sit well with the industry.
I'm not sure
One
what that
company
even means.
So I think the deal is that they want to shield the hub with 8-foot masonry walls to eliminate the noise and eliminate privacy concerns. But the funny thing is that doesn't do a whole lot.
As soon as they fly over the walls. Okay.
Just throwing it out there. But apparently there's another part here that says other businesses have to meet these screening requirements if they have open storage. So I don't know what open storage that they're prescribing for these drone delivery businesses, but the idea that we would allow this use to have open storage without holding them to the same standards as other business was really a concern. So, I mean, this is just a little bit of a glimpse into the garbage that is local government. I don't know. But anyway, obviously Drone Up is one of the companies that is already testing at Walmart's in Plano. But apparently at some point they may have to put up some masonry walls around them. Yeah.
I see that next paragraph where they say the company urged city council members to visit their operations to better understand the impact of the wall requirement.
Yeah, so here's the fun part. Later in the article, yeah, the visit got canceled. So this is just par for the course of government and regulatory industry not taking into consideration or not taking an interest into what they're actually regulating on, right? So getting folks like the FAA, or in this case Plano City Council, to come out and say, hey, come check out our operation so we can show you exactly what you're actually legislating on, is a great first step to, endearing yourselves to the businesses you're trying to attract to your local economy. And it's goofy. But so Councilman Horn wanted to emphasize that the drones have to fly along streets. So they can't fly, straight from A to B. They have to follow the streets,
But you
which
can't
is just
fly
the
over moving
goofiest thing
vehicles
ever.
without.
Yeah, which is in violation of OOP.
So welcome to the party, guys. Welcome to the party. Anyway, so council members, let's see. They did cancel the visit. I know that for a fact. Let's see. Anyway, council members set up a public meeting for last Tuesday to visit one of the for last Tuesday to visit one of the drone hubs, but the meeting was canceled. Plano City Council was scheduled to discuss potential regulations at Monday's meeting, but it was tabled. City Council decided to push the drone discussion until next year, February 26, 2020.
Hopefully they have a chance to do some more research before that meeting.
I'm hoping so. Rob, can you go talk to some people in your state, please?
I hadn't heard about the Plano thing. It sounds like they're trying to do like they do with the oil, like with the oil rigs, the oil wells that are out here.
Yeah.
A lot of the cities have passed the same thing where they have to put like brick walls around them, trying to cover them up where people can't see them. So But with drones, though, I really don't see the correlation between massive oil refineries, facilities, and drone delivery.
I mean, meanwhile, and then in Ohio, you got skipjacks in people's front yards. So, like literally in their yards. I don't know. I don't know.
Don't touch
It's
that,
goofy.
son. That thing makes money.
Yeah, for sure. So, anywho, yeah. This is what it's like dealing with government, guys, and I feel bad for these for Drone Up and some of these other companies trying to navigate this stuff, but at the same time, I'm sure there's somebody making some good money that does this kind of stuff. So, at any rate, that's all I have for this evening's news. What else do we have, gentlemen?
Well, I can start. We've got, I've mentioned the standard remote ID work that we're taking on with the new DAC, and that looks like we were just added 2 or 3 additional companies to the new DAC, individuals hearing about the work that we're doing and volunteering to help. So that's fantastic. One of them is Gabriel Cox, and Gabriel is the co-chair of the ASTM Remote ID Working Group. That's a big deal because if you look at the drone declaration of compliance site and look for the means of compliance, you'll see that there's one, and that's the ASTM document. So Gabriel knows everybody in remote ID and is incredibly knowledgeable. So great addition, and another 2 companies working on that with us. So co-chairing this standard remote ID are Greg Grevendew, founder and owner of, co-founder and owner of Pilot Institute, and me, and us in FPVFC. In addition, I've not made any additional progress, but have not forgotten about New York Assembly Bill A08176. This is by Assemblywoman Fahey, and they are citing the document. That wasn't a guidance, wasn't an advisory circular, but it was put out by the FAA in July of 2023, and it seems to weaken the federal preemption between the FAA and local municipalities, and they are suggesting that there might be opportunities for local municipalities to restrict drone flights over critical infrastructure. Well, that makes sense. And school grounds. No airplanes, no model airplanes over school grounds. So that's what we're working on. And that's what I have.
So the funny thing is the FAA already has a regulation on critical infrastructure. So we're gonna duplicate that, or we're just wanting to
going to duplicate it. Yeah, we've made that point to the assembly one that don't bother on that critical infrastructure part because that's already covered.
Right.
In the YouTube chat, Meet's asking what counts as critical infrastructure, and I believe the FAA actually has a definition of what is critical infrastructure.
They do.
I forget exactly what it is, but
I think it's
electrical power
utilities,
plants, water treatment sites.
Trains.
Yeah, trains.
No, train tracks.
All they have to do is define elementary schools as critical infrastructure, and their problems are solved, right?
Right. We can get a better answer on what there is a set definition by the FAA as to what they term critical infrastructure. Good question.
Pulling it right now. So it's military bases designated as DoD facilities, national landmarks such as Statue of Liberty, Hoover Dam, Mount Rushmore, nuclear power plants, and then FAA is continuing to consider additional requests by eligible federal security agencies for UAS specific flight restrictions as they are received. Also flight restrictions or TFRs over some public venues and other locations. So definitely those as well.
Reservoirs for large cities.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. And then there's a list of, there's a map of restricted security sensitive airspace that you can pull up. Let me see. We'll pull it up here. This is probably just the standard.
So
So
they
is
probably
this where
just
the-
show up on that map, huh?
Is this
Yeah.
where the FRIA locations might be someday?
Someday.
Someday could be, maybe.
Oh yeah, the UAS delivery service. I have the map is almost ready.
Ooh.
Say,
That
Alex,
was my hint.
did you
That was
see
my hint for that.
someone on Discord mentioned they got that the FAA is going to send them all of the FRIA data?
What?
I did not hear that. But
Yeah, let's see where it was in our Discord server somewhere in the last day.
So let's go over to.
They do that with a FOIA?
I think so.
Good for them.
That's
Wow.
good.
Yeah,
Big
like
deal.
BitsByte said the FAA accepted and acknowledged my request for all records in the FRIA database. Hopefully I will be able to upload it here soon. That was
Nice.
5 o'clock this morning, my time.
Way to
so
go.
yeah.
We'll be watching that one. Thank
They
you.
also requested again the list of UAS accident reports. Hopefully they're going to have that too.
Good luck
There
with
you
that
go.
one.
The Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, we've been at that one for 4 years with I think it's over 20 FOIA requests for the true incident reports. We know there
Mhm.
are as of 2021, count them, 6. No fatalities.
Well, you know.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
is flying without remote ID going to become an incident report?
There you go. Yeah.
So
Could
if
be
you look at the FAA UAS facility maps, you can pull up critical infrastructure. Anything with red's going to be restricted on there, and it'll give you the reasons why. So obviously, this one's national security for the Statue of Liberty.
Don't want anybody
Man,
to
I don't
spy
know.
on that.
Well, yeah, I was about to say, like, what's national security? I mean, maybe
It makes sense
maybe...
to have it a no-fly zone, but the reason's a little bit odd. What is that
You know.
Statue of Liberty doing that they don't want people
What's
to know?
it hiding?
It's a French connection.
Let's start a conspiracy theory here. All right.
It's all that copper. It's all
You
that copper. They're afraid of the copper being removed and sold.
Oh, well, you know, I mean, it's kind of like an air conditioner, but not. Alex, what do you got going on, buddy?
well, I can show you guys where I'm currently at with the FRIA map if
Yeah,
you guys want to
absolutely.
see that.
Yes, please.
Kill my presentation here.
Alrighty, let's share screen, and that's where we're at so far. This isn't an interactive map yet. This is just the map that I'm turning in for my project. So this isn't the one that will be out there for people to interact with, but this is kind of just a general general where FRIAs are. So blue is AMA, green is FPVFC, and red is STEM plus C. Don't have FTCA yet, but the state with the most FRIAs currently is Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And the state with the lowest FRIA to or with the lowest people per FRIA, or at least drone pilots per FRIA, recreational drone pilots per FRIA, is New Hampshire.
Really?
With 1,500 something people per FRIA.
Perfect
North
ratio.
Dakota looks like it's got like 3 in it. A couple on the state boundaries.
Well, it's based off the population, so that's why it's a little bit. That's why it's less. I think Pennsylvania is ranked 4th or something for that, but yep,
Nice.
FPVFC is pretty much on the East Coast with our FRIAs,
So.
and then we got Dan's over.
Yeah, over in Minnesota, that's as far west as they get. Huh?
Yep.
That's
STEM plus
awesome.
C is all the way over on the West Coast with Arizona and Washington.
Yep.
But
I have an application
3 in
for
Puerto Rico.
Have an application for one in Texas.
Nice. Very
But, yeah.
cool.
And in
2
Puerto
in
Rico,
Hawaii.
I think it was, and 2 in Hawaii. Excellent.
Yep. None in the Virgin Islands. So.
Or none in Guam.
Yeah. None there either.
Interesting.
And
This is cool.
whose is the Alaska one? That's Blue. That's
There's
AMA.
3 of them there.
Yep.
3 AMAs
3
in Alaska.
for AMA.
Yeah.
Golly.
There's a couple states with, well, I think there's one state with none. No, never mind. Oh yeah, Virgin Islands and DC don't have any.
That makes sense
It
for
does make
DC
sense.
and the
Yeah.
freeze. It does not make sense in the Virgin Islands, but that's fine. They don't care.
Yeah.
No, so they probably like, yeah, no, we don't care.
Yeah, whatever.
I think California is second for number of FRIAs in the state. But let me see where. I know I have the chart.
Nice work. This is cool.
Oh, yeah.
And so this is a project that you're doing for college?
Yes, a GIS project.
Very cool. And your objective is to put this up?
Hopefully. So yeah, hopefully I'll put it on an online version so people can go to it and find FRIAs near them.
Excellent.
And as soon as you do, the next day, then the FAA will finally get their act together and put their data up.
Well,
that's just how it'll go.
The goal is to get this up within the first 2 weeks of December, and that's at least a month or two before the FAA's estimate of when they'll get theirs up.
Nice.
And the UAS facilities map, I have, I'm sure it's something I do, but it crashes just, you blow it up, you zoom in, crashes. Okay.
Yeah.
Reinstall it, zoom in, poof. So if you just have something that doesn't crash, that will be an enormous improvement.
I don't know if anybody wants to take this question. Meet's asking, why are AMA FRIAs apparently getting approved at such a faster rate?
They aren't. It's just how many they've applied for.
I would also say that a lot of the ones that we started applying for were rejected until we sort of figured out what they were not going to approve, which would be people's backyard FRIAs. The FAA is more inclined to approve the existing AMA sites, which there were a lot of. So that's kind of why there's a lot of AMA spots.
2,600 AMA sites and 5 full-time people in AMA working on processing applications. And then they've got that all gets farmed out as an AMA member. I was one of the guys who filled out the information that then some good soul up in Indianapolis, just took the data, put it into a form, and sent it on to DC. So we did a fair, there is hundreds, if not thousands, of people across the country helping out for each of those 2,600 sites.
And you also don't have the FTCA FRIAs on there yet, which would add quite a few more.
Right.
Do we know how many they have now?
I don't. I apologize. I should know that.
Come on, Dave. You've worked there all of 2 weeks now.
I know. It reports to me. So I mean, it really does. That's not kidding. The FTCA does report to me under my heading of interim CEO flight test.
I'll be curious if you can get the data from that FOIA request and how, with more data, what we see.
Because that would include
Denials.
collegiate ones, or educational institutions.
Educational
which I don't have.
Institutions, yeah.
Good one. Yeah, good point.
Absolutely.
You're going to run out of colors.
Well, I'll just have educational institutions all as one color.
Yeah, and
there you
certainly if we can get the denials, that will be. I bet it will reinforce what we have found.
So
But,
the closest I've
go
found
ahead.
between 2 FRIAs is less than a mile.
Wow.
That's amazing. And so we
It's like
know.
0.93 miles.
Yeah, we know in the AC, which one was it, 89-3 on FRIAs, that they were like, not too close. We may not, we may deny if you're too close. So that's great news that they're at least not exerting that denial.
Well, maybe it's because they don't have their map yet.
They can't read.
Sorry.
They can't read coordinates, or they assigned them out.
Yeah,
One
two
guy over
different
here, one
people.
guy over here. That actually could have happened
Yeah,
because
100%.
The FAA
what I'm
said they
guessing.
put, what was it, 35 people on this?
Good grief.
Now, I'm sure that's not full-time, and we were pretty sure that it's across the country. So it very well could be that 2 different people processed FRIA applications for a mile or so apart.
Mm-hmm.
But what's going to be interesting is in 4 years when they have to
Hmm.
renew, will they then see that these are right next to each other and be like, we're not going to renew one of these. And then they're
Which
like,
one's
oh, there's
gonna
this one
be?
that's next to this one. And then there's this one that's next to this one. And then they're both denied.
Right. Right.
Jesus. Yeah. Watch out,
I could
guys.
see that happening. which
Either
would be
that or just
hilarious,
figure
but
out how to
also
merge
really
your
annoying.
FRIAs into one big one.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking you take a park, but where you can't make a FRIA over sidewalks or buildings, you like make 6 different FRIAs all in one park, just every little spot that's not a sidewalk or a building.
Yep. Yeah, there are a
FRIA
number of
park-
clubs that have
FRIA park
clubs
me.
have done just that because they've got roads and things like that that drive through their flying field.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, yeah. So those are some of the tips I think that we've talked about before. If you're sending us an application, we've got a checklist on our website, which is the information we will ask you for. We'll be happy to process free applications, and that's any one of us on the call. And we do ask that you become a member of FPVFC.
Mhm.
And one of a couple of things that we've learned is don't enter the coordinates for the flying area only. No roads, no parking lots, no bleachers, no buildings, no sheds, nothing, just flying area. And if you're sharing a flying field with some other activity like football or soccer or football, so figure out some way where you are communicating that there's no way that you'll be flying during those games and communicate that. In addition, the other thing that is critical is to articulate that drones or UAS have been flying at this location for some period of time, usually years, to demonstrate good safety as well as to make sure that this is a location that really does not need an PEA, Programmatic Environmental Assessment,
Ugh. Barf.
which can kick off an EIS, an Environmental Impact Study, which you really don't want.
And I'm pretty sure it seems like if a drone has flown there in the past is all it takes to say this is, it's not a new
fine.
It's a
space.
field, right? No one's complaining, right? Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Good stuff. Nice work, Alex. Thanks for doing it, and thank you for in advance for getting that up and making that available to folks. And I have a sneaking suspicion that the user interface will be better than the what the FAA comes up with.
I don't know. I don't know about that one.
He's
Low
like, don't
bar.
put pressure on me.
Low bar.
All right, Dan, what you got? Anything for us this evening?
Not a whole lot right now. I've done a little bit of testing with some flying around with remote ID modules, but nothing major yet. I was wondering if anybody has done more research on the changes coming in, proposed changes in Europe that Blunty posted about the other day. Where I don't know if any of you read any of it. I just saw the snippets that he was talking about, like remote ID is basically coming for all drones, especially anything over 250 grams, but even anything under 250 grams if it has a camera on it.
What?
They've over in some other countries they've got these issues where if it has a camera, suddenly it's a bigger issue with safety for some reason.
It
and
must
security.
be spying on people, right?
So if it's got a camera, even if it's 50 grams and you're flying a little tiny whoop in your backyard, it's got to have compliant remote ID on it. At least that's what it looks like according to what he was talking about. So.
Right, and so this is CASA, is that right? And so with the Civil Air Authority in UK, that this is
CAA, yeah.
CAA, not CASA. That's the European wide. So this is really important because the FAA shares their regulations around the world, and Europe, Western Europe is, in particular. So if sometimes we're more regulatory and sometimes the EU is, but the way things are headed, I should say the EU and the UK, um, nod to Brexit, but it's important that if we keep an eye on what's going on in Europe, chances are that could find its way over here. We hope not.
Oh,
tiny whoops.
this is
Incredible.
coming from SUAS News here. So, drone users urged to respond to significant consultation on proposals to develop regulations. So, consultation on proposals. This is kind of like our notification of rulemaking, notification of proposed rulemaking. So, consultation on proposals to make it easier for drone users to fly safely and meet regulatory requirements is now open. The consultation closes on the 10th of January, 2024. Proposals are based on feedback from the drone community on previous calls for input and input from the Department of Transport, Home Office, and the police. Proposals include the introduction of product requirements, extension of flyer ID training to users of drones under 250 grams, introduction of remote ID, and extension of the time period to adopt new drones by 2 years. The UK Civil Aviation Authority has today signaled proposals designed to make drone flight safer and make it easier for drone users to understand and comply with regulations. I love how it's to make it easier.
And safer.
Yeah.
Safer
Add
than
15 things to
safer
make...
than what? Yeah.
Exactly. So let's see. Among the changes proposed, simplifying regulations by reducing complexity in operational requirements in the open category, renaming operational subcategories to over, near, and far, and removing confusing exemptions for toy drones. Increasing education and understanding of regulations by requiring flyers of drones under 250 grams to take free online flyer ID test, increasing the guidance and information digitally provided to users via their drone controllers and displays, improving our guidance material, improving drone safety and security by implementing product standards for drones through a system of class marking, enabling safe and secure airspace through introduction of remote ID, geo-awareness, and geo-fencing functionality for certain categories of drones. So, hey.
Yeah, hopefully lots of people
They're
comment on
draconian,
that
guys.
and make changes. But
Yeah, they've done a good job of damping and making it really difficult to fly model airplanes in the UK. So the whole hobby, where when we formed, people like, the hobby's dead, the hobby's dead. Well, they're doing a good job of that in the UK with model airplanes. So,
and Josh, you mentioned toy drones, which reminded me of something I found. Let's see, this window there. Share this, which I'm not quite sure how I feel about this, but I saw an ad recently for the Skyfire target drone, which basically is teaching kids to shoot drones out of the sky
with Nerf guns. I love it.
Nerf guns or gel blasters.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like fun, but also you're teaching kids to shoot aircraft out of the sky. So
yeah, that's not a good deal.
Is this over 250 grams? Does it have standard remote ID on it? Does it need it? It flies on its own. Who's the pilot? There's a lot of questions there.
Wow. Wow. So all I want to know is it a network device, and does the information go back to China?
It is Bluetooth enabled to your smartphone, so theoretically, sure.
Gotta catch score somehow, right?
Oh boy. Yeah. So operators are standing by. Order yours now.
Oh boy. All right, Rob. Anything from your side of the world over there?
No, the only excitement I've got going on. I've been working with several people to design some adapters for DJI antennas where we can plug them into basically 2.4, 5.8 signal boosters. That way we can get signal outside of vehicles, to give a Faraday cage effect. Now, of course, you have VO considerations too. You got to put people where they can see the aircraft. But I've been working with a guy in Canada and two guys here stateside, U.S., and we've got several prototypes now. So that's kind of cool and exciting. This basically DJI makes proprietary antenna connections, so you got to get creative to get that feed out of it.
Interesting.
Very
That's kinda
cool. Very cool. And
Ditto.
hopefully hopefully they keep it the same from version to version on their firmware.
Yeah.
Chasing firmware and reverse engineering that is a headache.
Well, the output, the 2.4, 5.8 always stays the same. It's just every time they come out with a new aircraft, they change the antenna connection.
That's the one I meant. Yep.
On the
Oh, yeah.
aircraft or on the controller?
The controller.
Okay.
So on the older aircraft that had permanent antennas, we had to modify them and put QMA connections on them. You have to disassemble them, take them apart, and, put new hop-on, hop-off connections. With the new ones, they have removable. So essentially, it's a 3D print with an MCX microflax connector inside of it that
Cool.
mates up to the controller.
Cool. That does sound like
All
fun.
right. That does, yeah. Cool. All right. I think
I just
with
want
that-
to just one last comment.
Absolutely.
I try to watch what's going on in our Discord channels, and I just want to thank there are a number of folks on this evening who answer questions for other folks who are on the channel. And my thank you to all of you who do that. The attitude and intent is just fantastic. It's helpful, and needless to say, the technical depth on these channels in FPVFC is significant, and it's a lot deeper than I can see elsewhere. So thank you. Thanks for the support. Thanks for helping out FPVFC fellow members, as well as folks who are just on there to look for some help, and they're getting good respect and good help. So thank you.
Absolutely. It's great that Discord is built into what it's built into, and that the amount of helpful people are awesome on there. So keep it up, guys. We do appreciate it. All right. I think with that, thank you for joining us this evening, and we'll give you back the rest of your evening, and we'll see you in another couple of weeks, and look forward to it. Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Fly so high, I'm hypnotized. What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through.